Hello. I'm really excited. Today, I am Antoine, also known as PurpleFireCrow. What is today? Today's March 11th, 2021. I'm really happy. This year is definitely progressing. This show, Deaf Woke. We have an important message. An important message to share with you. Are you ready for it? Because the community, trying to come together for events, deaf businesses. This organization signed
Hi, I'm Karen Powell, and I'm the director for Signing Animation's premier animated short, Liftoff. I have single-sided deafness, and as an animator, I noticed how rare deaf hard of hearing representation is in animated media. I also noticed that deaf hard of hearing characters are almost never animated by artists from that community, and that's why we're making Liftoff. People who approach life visually are natural animation artists. Our crew reflects the fact that there are many different ways to be deaf. Over 60% of us are deaf hard of hearing, and all of us bring our individual experiences with the visual world to the table to create stronger, more communicative, more imaginative animations.
Many years ago, when I was a little girl, I was learning how to dance, and around that time, I had a dream that I could fly and become a superhero. It was really amazing. So this film, this short animated film, is actually inspired by my dream. Dance is an amazing opportunity for self-expression, to challenge yourself, and also to communicate. We know that there's not just one way to dance. There's many, many different ways to dance. But what you may not know is there's the same way for being deaf. There's not just one way to be deaf. Of course not. There are many different ways to be deaf. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Our story is about a deaf ballerina who confronts her fears of failures in her dreams. It was important to us as a team to process a universal experience of artistic block and performance anxiety through the deaf lens.
So we want animation and sign language. We also want something visually compelling. Animation has no limits. Really, the possibilities are endless in ways that we can change, experiment, and be imaginative. Signing in animation plus all those experiments and ideas is going to create a visual story you will enjoy. And that's the goal. That's what we want.
We're making this film to prove what we already know, that representation matters, that integrated crews make amazing animation in general and the best deaf character animation in particular, that studios can work with us, and that our stories have value.
The animation is created by deaf and hard of hearing artists. We are visual artists. We have created our own way we want to frame the world and present it to you. It's the people that are involved in the art. It's the people who make the art and how they make it part of their story. But we don't see it enough. We don't see it anywhere throughout the world, anywhere in animation. You see great animation, but at the same time, where's the signing? We need more of that. We've been waiting, so that's the reason I'm here to support and see signing animation make this.
By becoming a signing animation backer, you're bringing our stories and careers to life and making meaningful industry change possible. Come be a part of our film today and share the joy.
Okay, okay. That's nice. So if you guys want to support the Kickstarter, here's the link below. They're all deaf animation characters. Members that are in a group are deaf. Today is we have a hot guest. Wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce my interpreters. Where are they at? Where are they at? Where are they at? Champs. This is my interpreter, Jay. And this is the interpreter, Kaylee. Thank you for your services today. Oh, they're champs. Now, so let me give you a little insight of who our guest is today. Her name is Katrina Rahman-Stephens. She has been called many great things: a mother, a wife, educator, yoga teacher, daughter, sister, and so on. As of 2018, she was inspired to write a successful, and now she's a published writer, was added to that list of many great things. This is her sign name, Katrina. I'll try to remember that. Katrina shared with the world her first children's book, The Drum with No Sound. Inspired by her deep love and appreciation for African and deaf culture. Now that's something we'll engage in today, of all of her experiences, the culture, through our conversation today. So you can understand her passion of deaf culture and merging that of her African culture. So this is an amazing opportunity for us. Katrina, she is here today to share her story. Katrina, were you here? Where are you at? Yeah. Awesome. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
You know, really, where are you at right now? Where are you located?
I'm in Middle Georgia. It's I would say, as we relate to Atlanta, it's about 2 hours south of Atlanta. Well, no, I take that back because I'm thinking about my hometown. Where I live is maybe like an hour and 30 minutes south of Atlanta. Very close to Macon, Georgia.
Okay, South Atlanta. Nice. Is it how's the weather? Good?
It was good today. Like, it was wonderful, not too hot, not too cold. We had a breeze. It was wonderful. I think the degree topped at 73. It was wonderful. I took my class outside today and we worked outside.
So you're a teacher, yoga teacher, you're a publisher. You got, man, you are many things. You teach many things. What is your reason? What is your love? What do you love teaching them?
Teaching my students as a whole, like my class students, yoga students, All of,
Which do you love to teach?
I think I have an equal love for both. Because for my aspect of being a yoga teacher, I love to have people come into my class and just be able to let everything go from the day. A lot of times we take on a lot of things, whether work, different responsibilities, family, life in general. And when my students come into my class to practice yoga, it allows them an opportunity just to allow for everything to be left on the mat. All the stress of the day to be just left there. Not take it home with you. Allow it to stay on the mat. It can stay there. The mat can soak all that energy up. As far as with my students, with me being a educator, I just always have a love for teaching in general, naturally. And with me teaching ASL, or last year me teaching students who are deaf and hard of hearing, I just wanted to make sure they had access, especially my deaf and hard of hearing students, make sure they have access and to encourage them that there are limitless things that they can do in life. To not look at their hearing loss as something that's going to keep them back from accomplishing their goals.
I think some people may have missed. Are you hearing? Are you deaf?
I'm hearing. I am hearing.
Cool. What was it like growing up? Wait, where were you born?
In Cordele, Georgia. So where I am is an hour and a half south of Atlanta. And then to get to my parents' house, they live 30 minutes from where I live now. So what it was like growing up in Cordele, summer months was extremely hot, and I saw watermelons everywhere. Cordele is known for being the watermelon capital of the world, and I swear I saw so much watermelon growing up that I despise watermelon.
Don't get me hungry. Come on, don't get me hungry. Let's talk about your book, The Drum with No Sound. Wow. I love that book. What inspired you to write that book?
Oh, I think that really goes back to probably the age of 7 when I first had my experience with sign language. I had 2 experiences actually. One
7.
Thursday, I'm sorry, one Thursday, my parents took my brothers and I to a restaurant. We had good behavior that week. So they took us to a restaurant, and I remember on the kids' meal bag, I saw the alphabets. I saw the hand shapes for alphabets and sign language. And I was completely blown away. I'd never seen it before. I asked my mom what it was, and she said it was sign language. So immediately I wanted to learn. So I remember my brothers throwing their kids' meal bags away. I folded mine up and took mine away in my pocket. So when I arrived home, I practiced the alphabet. I would look at the bag and practice making the hand shape of the alphabet. So that was my first experience. Years later, I remember seeing a rerun of the show A Different World. Are you familiar with that show?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that show. Yeah, Different Worlds. Yeah.
CJ Jones was on an episode of that show, and he was signing and rapping, and I was completely blown away by his use of sign language because, of course, I've never seen it before. Growing up in a small town like Cordele, I've never seen a deaf person. I never seen sign language. So seeing him use sign language, it was amazing to me, and that really what gravitated me to wanting to learn more about deaf culture and wanted to learn more about the language.
Yeah, yeah. So some people don't know who CJ Jones is. He's a deaf Black actor. He's a poet, drummer, comedian. List goes on. Yeah, but I remember the show Different Worlds. Yeah, I remember watching it, and he came in. He was signing. He's like, I can't hear you. I was like, what? That changed my life. Same. So, So, how did that transition you into writing? So, something's really cool. The drummer with no sound. I read it. What pulled me in wasn't the only the sign language, but it was, the African culture that you merged in with the story. What's the connection with that?
My dad, even now, shall I say, he's he's very he is a very influential person in my life when it comes to owning and appreciating and loving my African culture. As young as can remember, he always tried to establish culture within our family. And he's also a master drummer himself. He plays djembes, he plays batas, congas. I mean, the list goes on. So I had an experience in college where one of my college classes, I had to select 50 books that were related to one another. And it had to be based around my major. So my major at the time was special education. And so I was in the library and I was looking through these books, and it was hard for me to find books that highlighted students with children with disabilities, characters with disabilities in a positive light. And also my interest, of course, was in deaf education also. So I'm looking through trying to find books that was related to deaf education with children characters, but I didn't see any. It was very limited. So I was frustrated, but right then I was thinking we need more books that highlighted deaf children in a positive light. We just need more books about deaf education. So I had a conversation with my dad, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years later. It was years later. And he was talking with my brothers. He always wanted my brothers to get involved with drumming. He said we could go to schools during story time and play the drums and play drums. And he said it could be done during story time where someone is reading a book. I said, well, I can write the books. Me not thinking, am I really going to write these books? I'm just including myself in the conversation. But it hit me. It had me to think about that time when I was in the library in college and I could not find any books related to deaf children. So I went home and I just started thinking about different titles for books. I didn't have a story in mind, but titles were starting to flow. And the first one was The Drum with No Sound. So with me having a love for African culture and appreciation for deaf culture, I was like, why not merge both of them together?
Beautiful, beautiful. You're talking about deaf culture. Now you're involved in deaf culture, yeah?
Um,
Is that something you grew up your whole life being involved in?
no, I didn't have my first experience with deaf culture until I attended Valdosta State University, and that's in South Georgia. And on that campus, they had a deaf education program. They had an interpreting program. So that was my first time having this deaf culture experience, the deaf community experience. One of the things that the ASL Club was trying to do while I was on campus was allow access for deaf people to have closed caption at the movie theaters. So that was my first experience. And then I was blown away yet again when I was taken to a silent dinner in Atlanta. And I saw in the food court, there were hundreds of deaf people signing it. it was so amazing to see a culture of people sharing the same language, and it was beautiful.
I love my culture, my deaf culture. I love it. So yeah, deaf culture. You know what? What do you love about deaf culture? You know, you were exposed, you learned. What was something that surprised you? Do you have something specific? Is it the language only, or something else? That's something else that really surprised you.
Initially was the language because I had never seen it before. But then when I became friends with other deaf individuals, I began to learn their culture, and they have no limits. No limits. I mean, the only difference between myself and a person with a hearing loss with a hard of hearing deaf is the level of hearing. It is their hearing loss. That's it. One of my friends who I met at college, her name is Sharia. I think I always struggle with signing her name correctly. I think that's it. But
Hmm.
she's a dancer, an amazing deaf dancer. Yes, amazing, amazing. And she's involved with different pageants. She has really inspired me in ways when it comes to deaf culture that really, really made me look at it differently. She didn't allow her deafness to keep her shut away.
Yes, yes, that's great. You know, some people, they write a book about deaf culture, but they have no connection to it, to the community. But you are really involved in the community, yeah? So that's amazing. That's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. So now had the connection. We have the African culture and deaf culture, and we merge those together. And now we have the drummer with no sound. So I'm gonna tell you a story. So what happened was, I was working, just doing the normal work. And one of the presidents from the Black Deaf Advocates called me, and invited me to Fremont, the deaf residential school, to sign the story. I used your book, and I have it. Look at this. It was just beautiful. It was wonderful. How I was able to be connected to the school, and I was able to demonstrate that story to the deaf children. You know what? Wow. You know what? I just got to show you. I got to show you what it was. I got to show you. Ready? The seasons had circled. Mother Nature brought great fortune to the village of Nigeria. But what's different? One would have thought this day, during the rise of the morning, the drummers greeted the village people with a rhythmic sound that awakened their souls and set the energy for the day. However, Tunji wasn't awakened by the sound of the drums that played at the bottom of the village, still sleeping. I don't want to give I don't want to give the whole story away. So I gotta cut myself off. You know, if you want to, you can go ahead and give them a little more taste of that book. But that, I mean, it's, really, it's, that book, it's powerful. Do you want to tell the people a little bit more about the book?
One thing that I can share is when the drummers were playing at the bottom of the village, but Tunji wasn't awakened by the sound of the drums. I think it's safe to say that the outcome of that did not limit his success.
Right. 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 Can you see me? Do we see you okay? Okay, good. Want to make sure people can see me. Yes. I want to tell you one thing. The Dunje Mumbe. Growing up, my uncle. He played that. Unfortunately, my uncle has passed away, but his energy had never left. What is your connection to the Mumbe?
Djembe.
Jimbe. What is your connection?
Um, I For me, that was the drum that always caught my attention when my dad would play. I love the way it sounds. I love the way the djembe sounds, and that is the drum that is typically used during celebrations. If you go to an African festival, a lot of drummers will have the djembe, and I have mine here as well.
Ah, yes.
So, and I always just love the sound of the djembe. I think that's why I wanted to use it in the story.
Yeah. If people want to buy your book, well, can they get it on Amazon? Where can people purchase your book?
It may be purchased on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target. You may go to my website, www.thedrumwithnosound.com. It's available at Walmart online. I think it's those 5 places. I think I shared 5.
Oh, snap. Okay. We can find it everywhere, sold everywhere. So this, for all the audience members, this is Katrina's social media. You can go to her Facebook at The Drummer with No Sound. She also has a website, www.thedrummerwithnosound.com. I love it. You've published many different books, right? This isn't your only one?
No, this is my first one. One amazing thing is, and it just happened to fall on this day, I'm working with a publishing company, and I agreed to have another book published by this specific publishing company. And they emailed me today and said that my book is ready to start its illustration. So I have a second book coming out. It should be ready by the end of July. And it's titled The Laughing Hyenas.
Yes. Wow. Okay. You going. You're getting it going. I can't wait to read that one. You're feeding me so. You're driving me. I don't know how many times I've read this book.
I'm glad you like it.
It's beautiful.
I'm thankful that you were willing to sign the book. So the opportunity of you signing my book is very appreciative. And it was wonderfully done. You did an amazing job.
It's coming from the energy within the book, you know? And it's not only just storytelling. It's not all. We're learning culture, history through the book. The children, adults, you know, they really appreciate it. And there's also a secret message within the book. Right? Yeah. Wink, 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 wink. You know, speaking of history, do you want to share, you know, I want you to see some knowledge and play a game with you. It's called Name Those People.
I'm excited and nervous at the same time.
We ready?
Yes.
Make sure I can see everyone. The picture is of a black man with a beard, black beanie hat, and with a smirk smile. Also a black leather jacket. Who is it? Who do you think it is?
I have no clue. He looks like is he a comedian? He is a comedian.
Yes. Yes, right. Harold Fox. He's a comedian, actor, film director. He has a show called Harold Fox. He's an amazing leader. So Katrina, in this game, you can, you know, you can give us their name or, you know, what they do. Okay. The visual description is a picture of a black female with a shoulder-length volume, black hair staring at the camera, wearing a white long sleeve sweater, clasped hands under her chin. Who do you think it is, Katrina?
It is the Michelle Obama.
Yeah, of course. Michelle Obama. She's an American attorney, an author, First Lady of the United States in 2009 to 2017. Of course, she was married to the 44th President of the United States, Barack Obama. She was the first African American woman to hold vice president office, or first lady office, rather. This next picture is of a black female with a short, light golden brown yellow hair, wearing a black dress, jacket, and random color pearls. She's smiling at the camera. Who do you think it is?
Claudia Gordon. She's an attorney, first black attorney. Yeah.
Yes. 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 Black attorney in the United States. Girl, you right. Okay. This next picture of an African American female, low cut hair, wearing a white V-neck shirt, looking artistically at the camera. Who is it?
I don't know.
Don't know?
I don't.
Oh, you don't know who this is? Ooh, this is Michelle Banks. This is her name sign. She's an actress. She's from Washington, D.C. She's not only an actress, she's a director, producer, choreographer, motivational speaker. She was on the show called Girlfriends on UPN, and a series called Soul Food. She now has a company called Voca, VOCA. She had a theater company, and it's beautiful.
I'm disappointed that I don't know her. I really am. I should know. I shouldn't know her. I need to do better.
Oh, don't worry about it. So this picture is of an African American man with deep brown glowing skin. He has short black gray dreadlocks pulled back and a full beard. He's wearing a black V-neck shirt, a prominent silver ring on a finger, a diamond stud earring, and looking off at the camera artistically. Who is it? Yeah, that's right. Wawa. Warren Wawa Snipe.
Did an amazing job with the national anthem at the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, say, can you see? Yeah, you're right. Yep, he did the national anthem for the Super Bowl. He was born in Philly, resides in the DC area. He's an entertainer, a rapper. He's awesome. He has his own company, and the company's premise is trying to make sure that, sign language, music, and rap. So, So this picture is a African American man in a black and white picture. Appears looking at the left direction, smiling with his short black haircut and trimmed mustache. Wears a pilot short bow with a dark jacket with a white collar. Who is it?
Andrew Foster. He opened up the first deaf school in Ghana. I think it was Ghana. I'm sure it's Ghana.
Yes. Good. Yeah. A lot of people call him the father of sign language, of African sign language. He founded 32 schools over in areas of Africa. This picture is of an African American woman, appears smiling with snow white teeth in her dark chocolate skinned white, black, long, straight hairstyle, and dressing in a leopard spot blouse with a white top from the inside. Who is it?
Her name is slipping my mind. I know she was on the documentary Through Deaf Eyes. She went to Gallaudet University. I remember her going to a school, an all black school for deaf students. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the school closed down. And then she was mainstream with white students. I think, yeah, that's what happened. She was mainstream with a school for the deaf that had white and black kids there.
Yeah, you're right. Dr. Carolyn McCaskill. You're right, though. Yep. She wrote a book called The Hidden Treasures of Black ASL. It's the history and structure. She holds a PhD. She's also a professor at the Gallaudet University since 1996. Have you not met her yet?
No, I just saw her in the documentary, and I remember seeing her talk about Black ASL.
Yeah, I hope you meet her.
Hopefully one day.
Yeah, I hope you two meet. Ooh. This picture is of an African American woman, appears in her light brown skinned with her loosened, wavy, honey blonde, long hairstyle, wearing in a soft, warmly blue blouse and smiling with showing white teeth at the camera. Who is it?
Vanessa Williams.
Let me see. Let me see. Ooh, you're right. Vanessa Williams. She's an American singer, actress, fashion designer. She initially gained recognition as the first African American woman to receive Miss America. She was crowned Miss America in '84 and '83. Now, this one's a hard one.
Mm.
The picture is of an African American man, appears in a brown skinned, short, bald haircut, wears a pair of rectangle framed eyeglasses, grinning his nice white collar with a blue spotted tie. Who is he?
I don't know his name, but was he recently on your show?
Oh, you watched that. Okay, nice. Do you remember what he does? It's Dr. Glenn Anderson. He was one of the first individuals to get a PhD, African Americans to earn a doctorate degree. He's an active community member in African American community. He still is also the author of a book calling "Still I Rise," an enduring legacy of Black deaf Arkansans before and after integration. Yeah, he's incredible. This is a hard one. The picture of an African American man appears in a brown skinned to wear white and red baseball uniform with a red baseball cap, letter A, with a white halo, smiling, showing white teeth, looking at the camera. Who is he?
Curtis Pride. I think he threw with his left hand and hit the ball with his right hand.
That's really specific. Yes, Curtis Pride. He's a former Major League Baseball outfielder. Yeah, right. Boy, you had it right. Left hand through right-handed. Now he's a coach at Gallaudet University. We're getting close. This picture is of an African American woman. Appears in a brown-skinned, smiling, with shown white teeth at the camera. Wears it in a black long volume hairstyle. Wears a deeply red collar down V blouse with a seen silver rope short necklace. Who is she?
Bernadette, I think her last name is Sands, Bernadette Sands from Good Times. Sands.
Ooh. Yep. Bernadette Stands. Yep. Some good times. She's involved in several different theater projects. And the daughter of Florida and James Irvin Sr. This picture is of an African American woman, appears in a brown skinned, smiling with her white teeth. She has a black, full, thick, mid-short afro hairstyle, tilting her head with blue beads, silver black feather earrings that match to her blue, white, black non-sleeve blouse. Who is she?
I should know her real name. But it's Vivian Banks from The Fresh Prince.
Oh, I think, where's my interpreter? Again.
Do I say it again?
Yes, please.
Vivian Banks. That's her stage name from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But I should know her real name. It slipped my mind.
Yeah, it's Janet Herbert. You're right, though. She's an incredible dancer. She's involved in many different films. Yes, it's such an honor. You are amazing. Good job.
Thank you.
You did good. Good. Mm. We knew that you were already smart.
I was doubting myself just a little bit.
Now, our audience wants to ask you questions. So we ready? You ready? Okay, people. Now it's Ask Katrina Anything. So go ahead and type your questions in the chat box, comment box. If you have a question, this is your time. You can ask her anything. It's risky. Risky. I know I saw some questions. So we got some comments. Hashtag more brown deaf books. That was an interesting comment. So question. I'm so thrilled to know about your work, drum with no sound. What is your tips for us to write books for brown deaf children?
One thing that I did for this book in particular, I made sure to reach out to my friends that were deaf because I wanted to make sure I highlighted deaf culture in a positive light. I wanted to make sure that the information that I was putting in the book that I was sharing, making sure that it wasn't offensive, although it was something that I was pouring from my heart. In the same token, I wanted to make sure because I'm not a part of deaf culture, I'm a part of deaf community. But because I'm not a part of deaf culture, I wanted to make sure that the information that I was sharing would be appreciated.
Yeah. So you said, did you get a deaf brown consultant?
Well, it's just we're friends. For an example, my friend Sharia, she went deaf at the age of 4. So born hearing, but all of a sudden at 4, hearing loss went away just like that. So when I was writing the book, I was thinking to myself, can a person really wake up and all of a sudden their hearing loss is just gone? They can't hear anything. So I wanted to make sure that the information that I was writing about was actually can be connected with a person. So I was sharing my book with her. She said, yeah, that happened to me. I was 4 and I was watching television and my mom was calling my name, but I didn't respond. So literally, all of a sudden, she lost her hearing. There was no reason why. It just happened. And interestingly enough, when I shared my story with the Atlanta area school for the deaf, when when I finished reading the book, one of the students said that happened to me. So with me not knowing that these were actual experiences of individuals, I felt okay with sharing the story. Like, hey, this really can happen.
Question is, can you see this becoming a cartoon or a short film one day?
I would love to. Love, love, love. I will say don't have the resource. I don't have the connection because I would say I'm new to, being an author. So there are a lot of things that I'm learning along the way. So one day, absolutely, I would love to see that, which made me think about um, Mr. Hunter, when you showed the initial business signing animation. I was like, wow, if that could be my book, that would be amazing.
Hmm. Hmm. Maybe I can give you some connections.
That will be greatly appreciated.
So the question, the drum with no sound, is my favorite. Are there any plans for a play? So we got now turning this into an animation and maybe even a play.
I would love to see that happen as well. I actually had someone interested um, last year in turning the book into a play. But of course, COVID happened, and so everything got postponed. But I would love to have anything to allow the book to be shown more visually with more effects would be amazing.
And what was your challenge in writing the first book?
Uh, I think for me, just having self-doubt because I never thought I in a million years will write a children's book. So having the confidence to say, I, Katrina Stevens, Rockman Stevens, someone from the small town of Cordell, Georgia, can actually write a book. That was my biggest challenge. Getting out of my way was my biggest challenge. It wasn't writing the book itself because once I started writing, it was just I was writing on paper. So that wasn't a challenge for me. Getting my ideas on paper was not the challenge. It just me being in my own way was the biggest challenge.
One thing I love is that you checked in with the deaf community. You chatted with the deaf person about a book in which is about a deaf person, which takes a lot of confidence to do. Uh, you didn't allow the fear to handicap you. You became open to a conversation, and that's what's important: communication. Question: did anyone give you any pushback at first because you weren't deaf, or where you weren't fortunate enough to have support everywhere from the beginning?
Um, I didn't have any pushback because I was not deaf. What I wanted to make sure was, again, make sure I talked to my friends that were deaf. And honestly, a lot of my friends have different views. Some feel no. Before I say that, there were no pushback. No, they made sure that I was aware of different things. Some pushback that I may get from certain individual from the deaf culture that were involved in the deaf culture. And one of the things could be, I'm hearing, what do I know about deaf culture? You're not involved in deaf culture. You're not a part of deaf culture. So why are you writing a book about a child that's deaf. So that was a little fearful for me. But I was thinking to myself, I put in time with the deaf community. I have friends that are deaf. I teach students that are deaf and hard of hearing. I make sure I consult with my friends that were deaf. So I felt like that, and I went through a deaf education program at Valdosta State University. So although I'm not a part of the deaf culture, I felt like I still had a wealth of knowledge to share.
Yeah, because that's what I noticed. You're really involved with the deaf community. You're not just an outsider. You're hands-on. Then that's what you said. You miss, kind of interacting with the deaf community. And you said this is about deaf children. So I love the fact that you interact with deaf children. It's important. If you're gonna write about deaf history, deaf culture, and illustrate that in a book, and not be involved in the deaf community, that would be contradictory. But that's not you. But so what you did and what you're doing is beautiful. Question, by the way, who drew those beautiful pictures in your first book?
Her name is Remy Bryant, and she's located in Atlanta, Georgia. And honestly, it's a funny thing of how I found her. When I was finished writing the book, I was thinking, okay, I need someone to illustrate the pictures. So I asked a few people here and there. But I sat in Barnes and Nobles one day. I love to go to Barnes and Nobles to smell the coffee, to smell the book pages. Although I don't drink coffee, I love the smell of coffee. But I sat at the table one day and I had my tablet and I Googled illustrators in Georgia. And I closed my eyes and I just went down and I stopped. And I stopped on Remy Bryant. And luckily enough, she was an illustrator. Well, she is an illustrator and she has her own publishing company. And she's amazing. We went through a lot of revisions, but she as well wanted to make sure that this project was everything that I could imagine. And it was a challenge for her. She said, I'm eager to do this because it's a challenge for me. It's allowed me to step outside of my illustration box, my illustrator box.
Very amazing. And it's very beautiful. I love the colors, the illustrations. Look at this. It's just full. Sounds like an angel. While you had your eyes closed, an angel led you to Remy. Beautiful. So if you want to buy Katrina's book, you can go to her social media. It's here on the link. You go to her Facebook at The Drummer with No Sound, or you can go to her website, www.thedrummerwithnosound.com. I'm telling every library, every school, you need this book. They should have this book. There's no excuses. We're going to get Target. Target's got it. Amazon's got it. Different places have it. And especially people who love music.
I wanted to add this. You were talking about music. When I've done in the past, when I had authors visit, I would read the book and my dad would play the drums.
Oh,
Yeah. And typically after our sessions, he would have the kids to come up to play the drums, and it was amazing when I went to the Atlanta area school for the deaf, because the kids were really able to feel the vibration and just hit the drum and just really enjoy it. That was an amazing
what?
experience.
I got mine. That's beautiful. I think there's 2 more questions. So now that you have finished the second book, do you have plans for a third?
I do. I have, like, initially I thought of several titles, and I'm thinking, is that backwards? Because I have all these titles, but I don't have a story to go with it. But I do have a third book. My goal is to have it a series, and it's still, the main character name is Kahari, and he is a deaf child. So I wanted to stay within the realms of deaf culture.
That's beautiful. Did you ever do a biography or an autobiography with a deaf person?
No.
Yeah, that seems hard. Do you have a final comment that you want to tell the people? Anything you want to tell the people?
I want to thank everybody for tuning in and just taking the time out your day to listen to my story and to be a part of this amazing show that Mr. Hunter has created. So I'm thankful and I'm appreciative. And I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit more about me and my book and the things that are to come from it.
Yes. Again, we deaf people love the process, the appropriate process. Plus, I'm deaf Black person, and we love to dance. We love music. We love reading stories. And I'm just very happy. I thought, what? I got to get you here.
I'm glad you contacted me.
Don't be confused. Katrina can sign. Wink, wink. Amazing spirit. I'm looking forward to your next book. I'm looking forward to the book becoming a movie. Maybe I may want to be in it. Shoulder shrug, elbow, nudge, nudge. Maybe the next time, after your next book comes out, you can share a little bit more. And maybe you can dive into what's the difference between the 2 books. Maybe what's the process that's different. Do you have any last words?
Don't have any limits.
No limit. Always capture your dream. And you started it just a few years ago. So it's never too late.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you. Love.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Wow. Are y'all inspired? I'm inspired. Wow. She just started a few years ago. She just started writing. Something ignited her. Something that touched her when she was a child at a restaurant. Saw the menu. Was curious about this sign language, and it stuck with her. As through her life, it came in full circle. It never left her. Sticking with the deaf community, Black culture, merging those, becoming something, writing, and sharing it with deaf children. This book is not only for children, it's for adults. It's impacted me. You know, you have something inside that might be something that is different from your culture, something that's different from how you've been brought up. That there's a burn inside of you, something that wants to get out, shared through art. Your culture, invite other cultures. Same as Katrina. She invited something that was different, and it grew to something beautiful. It's like Katrina said, no limit. It's never too late to capture your dreams. No, really, she woke up. It's just like Deaf woke. That's what this is about. An amazing ally. So everyone who's watching the show, thank you so much for watching. I want to say thank you to Katrina, the interpreters, audience. Yes, you watching. HowlRound. Drop Labs. And again, you. So thank you. Don't forget, go and like our Urban Jazz Dance Company page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, both. We're on both platforms. Now, our Deaf Work shirt made by Popfish. Soon they'll be changing their logo, but the company stays the same, and they are beautiful. I want to let you know, if you want this show, Deaf Woke, you want it to keep going, please go ahead and donate. You can go to our website, https://www.realurbanjazzdancecompany. It helps kind of keep everything going. This is not free. I want you guys to enjoy it, to making sure it stays free. So keep donating, whether it's $1, $2, whatever you can. Much love, much support. So, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Is there any other comments? No, thank you. I'm happy that you've been inspired. So now, I hope you enjoyed yourself. So what's next? Peace, love. I'm out.